Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for another episode of the Leadership for the Now. My name is Florian Lungu, and I'm so delighted to be with you today. And today I'm joined by two wonderful guests, Madalina and Corina. And ladies, I'm gonna let the stage to you. So take it over.
Thank you, Florin. I'm so
Thank you.
happy to have this meeting with you. Welcome, Corina. Thank you again for accepting our invitation to discuss about the world of HR, and especially for those leaders who would like to understand more what value the HR department is bringing, and something that they don't actually see, something from below the surface. This is why I really want you to say, to answer some of our questions that usually leaders are rising up when they are in contact with HR. So I want to present a little bit about Corina Neagu. She is an HR and business strategist, international trainer, executive and career coach, and I found out that she has a very lovely hashtag that it's related to HR, bringing human back into HR. So I really love this hashtag. And she's also the founder of their development advice resources, and she has workshops all around the world on HR and management. And actually, she's also a publisher of articles, of specialty articles. But I would like to ask you, Corina, to tell us a little bit more about yourself, and especially what is there.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Hello, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today. I really enjoyed the music. It's the intro. It's very nice and very challenging. Well, about myself, I'm 46 years old. I work in HR for more than 20 years. I'm really passionate about working with people, working in all processes in HR, talking to people. I'm also a teacher. I'm also a professor. I work with teenagers. I work with adults. I work with seniors. The age doesn't matter. The age is a number for me. I have my own company there, which means that I'm very courageous. This is an acronym, actually. And of course, development advisory resources, because I do everything related to HR, consulting, training, recruitment, organizational design, coaching, executive coaching, etc. Yes, I do a lot of things, and everybody is asking, how do you do that? It's because I'm really passionate about this, and I really want to add value to everything that I do, and I really want to change the paradigm about HR and to bring back human into HR. Yes, this hashtag is daily. I'm a visionary, and I think. I'm working for the future. I work with what we have right now for the future. So actually, I think this is my mission in life.
Wow. Wow, amazing, Corina. I know that you have much more than we already said about you, and you already said about you, but we would like to invite you actually to find out more about Corina, what she's doing, to get in contact with her. You can find her on LinkedIn, and we can share some later, some other links that are useful for you. Corina, what we usually do in our series, and because today we have leadership for the now, we have prepared some questions related to what usually leaders don't know or would like to understand from HR department. So I will start with the first question. Are you ready?
Yes, definitely. I was born ready.
Perfect. Okay, so the first question is, what is the main communication issue people from HR face in contact with leaders of organizations? And leaders of organizations, this we can think about the owner of the business, of the company, chief
The
of,
stakeholders. The stakeholders.
yeah, stakeholders, exactly, a chief
Okay.
of some department, and also managers. So what
Managers.
is the
Okay.
main what is the main communication issue between HR and the stakeholders?
Well, I think you have said it already. Communication is the issue. It's the fact that it's not about having the power, because HR is not always about having the power and doing things. It's about understanding, it's about communicating, it's about analyzing the needs of the company, understanding the business, understanding the people behind the processes. And this lack of communication, a lack of support sometimes from the managers, from the stakeholders, of course frustrates us. And it's a never-ending story. It's a never-ending war between the managers, the leaders of the organization, the chief executive officer, and HR. Not to mention the war between HR and the other departments, because if you don't get the support from the leaders of the organization, you cannot do anything. Your hands are tied. So actually, the lack of communication has many negative results and impacts a lot people in the organization. Because if the leader of the organizations don't trust you as a function, as a business partner in the organization, nobody will do it. Okay, so I think this is the main issue. The way we see the value that the HR department could bring to the organization. Of course, if you have the right people at the right place at the right time, of course, in the HR department also.
Wow.
So I think that's it.
So you advise actually people who are in a very important position in the company to actually discuss with you and to make sure that you collaborate with them and they collaborate with you. This is what I understood from it.
Actually,
so this
to
is
understand, we are not enemies. We need to be partners in the business. We need to work together. We need to understand each other and to support each other in the process, because the objectives are common. We have the same purpose. We share the same vision of the company. We share the same objectives. We have the same values. Okay, that's why we are there, to work together, to collaborate. And I think we forget from time to time to do this. And this, of course, is an obstacle in our relationship. It's not because we don't want to. Sometimes we don't know how. Sometimes we don't have the right people with the right set of skills and abilities and competencies in those positions. So we need to learn together how to do it better tomorrow. But the first step, as I mentioned before to you, Madalina, is the first step is to become aware of what we need to do. First of all, the current status, where we are right now, what we need to accomplish in the future, the vision, the mission, the values of the company, and how do we get there? And then to create a plan step by step on key objectives and things like that. It's not easy, but it's a road, it's a journey that we need to spend together, and to build together from the beginning.
So leaders, remember, you are not enemies. You need to collaborate with the HR department and the HR department with you. I will go with the next question. What are the main benefits HR department brings to an organization, but people don't seem to acknowledge them as such?
Well, actually should bring. It's not we already bring them, because we are trying to, at least. But again, I will focus on having the support, and in healthy organizations, when we already have the support of the management, of the leadership team, then we can focus on improving, for instance, diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is one thing. Then to manage the remote work, because during the last 2 years, we have seen that this is quite a challenge for all the organizations around the world. Even if we had this way of working before the COVID-19. We had virtual teams before COVID-19. We had very good managers working remotely before the pandemic. So right now we don't have to learn new things in order to provide the employees with the right way of thinking or doing things. We just have to remember how to do it. Some of us, at least. Some of us, of course, will have to learn from the beginning. So again, manage the remote work. Change management. The HR leaders should prioritize re-evaluating change management, as many employees are likely experiencing burnout, for instance, or fatigue due to the changes in the labor market. They are affected. Okay, the impact was really, really high, and some managers didn't know how to do it, how to manage change during these 2 years. Another one is building critical skills. We have seen that some skills are missing in the company or are missing for certain positions. For instance, World Economic Forum says that more than 60% of the children currently in school today are preparing themselves for jobs that are not existing right now. They are not here. So they have to, they have to prepare themselves for future jobs that don't exist right now.
Okay.
So actually what HR should do is to focus on these skills and to try to, develop them, to be prepared for what's next, to have the courage to find out what are these competencies, what are those skills missing, and to prepare people for facing them. Okay.
Wow, this is a different perspective. So companies should prepare for the future kids which will become adults with different skills.
Exactly. So this is quite a challenge, and HR, of course, should definitely be working on that. Prepare the future leaders is another one. Okay, the leaders of tomorrow, the new generations, new skills, new motivations, new expectations, managing expectations, managing the diversity, managing different generations at work. So you see how many things we need to do. First of all, we need to prepare ourselves to be better and better, and to be aware of the trends in the market at national and, of course, at international level, because there are lots of things affecting the labor market and, of course, affecting the HR at different levels in the companies. One more thing is HR should be prepared to provide great employees' experiences. It's not about having a job and that's it. It's about having a purpose in life. Having only the process, it's about managing from processes to people, to encouraging people, reward, motivation, and things like that. So we have a lot on our plate, as you can see, Madalina.
Yes.
And I'm sure that if we get better and better, and we prepare ourselves as HR people, and we are aware of the impact that we can and the value that we can bring to all the organizations, then we can do a great job together with the managers. We cannot do anything by ourselves, by the way. Everything that I have mentioned before is done with the support, with the collaboration of the managers in the company.
I could tell that you have a lot on your plate, you as HR people, but I didn't know. I'm pretty sure it's not everything that is there. You just mentioned some of the things on an HR's plate. I'm pretty sure we can discuss more about that one. I would like to go to the next question for you, Corina. When recruiting a new person for a position, what should the manager mention to the HR department, and they usually don't mention?
Well, Madalina, this is a debate. And I challenge all managers to watch this, because actually the managers should be involved in the entire recruitment process, in the beginning of the process. From identifying the need, the recruitment need, then creating the profile, the candidate's profile, then being involved in the recruitment process, being involved in having interviews, in taking the decision, the hiring decision, in giving feedback, in having follow-up sessions, and of course, after the recruitment process has ended, to be involved in the onboarding process together with the new employees. So it's not only what the manager should tell HR. You cannot expect HR to do your job. Recruitment is part of the manager's jobs. Okay, they should be involved in the process since the beginning. You cannot expect HR to know what your people should do, or how would they be, or what are your priorities for that specific job, or what are the recruitment priorities or criteria. Okay, so you cannot do that, because HR actually doesn't know everything. So you should work together again with HR in order to have all that together. Okay. And of course, you cannot expect HR to take the hiring decision. You're the hiring manager. You're supposed to take, in the end, you're supposed to take the decision. And you're supposed to teach, to mentor, to guide your employees. So, and usually this doesn't happen. Usually the manager comes to HR, assuming HR knows everything, which is wrong, completely wrong. And they ask HR, you know what to do? Bring me some good people. And then when you bring the people, because you're forced to, you're HR and you have to deliver, of course. When you bring the people, then the manager starts complaining. Look, this is not okay. They don't have results. They are like this. They are like that. You need to fire them, which is not okay from any point of view. Okay. So this is not the right way of doing things. Once you are together in this process, you need to take over your role as a manager, and you need to be involved, and you need to take the decision together, and then, of course, to be accountable, responsible for it.
Florian, we were missing you for a few minutes there. We didn't know exactly where you went.
No worries. I just wanted to leave you the stage because you were doing such a wonderful job, and I wanted to be in the comments with the participants. So I just wanted to. I'm here handling everything, but I really love that. So we cannot assume that the HR department knows what we need as the leaders and what we want. So it's our job to make sure that we have that communication and we're open and we share as much as is needed for the HR department to understand our needs. So I thought that was really good. I'm not gonna interrupt you, so keep going.
Thank you. If we have questions from the audience, please jump in and
I'll bring them up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Corina. You actually mentioned something that I was about to ask you. Okay, so you're bringing the people, and maybe exactly what you said, the manager complains because this is not the right person. So usually
how could it be? How could it be? Because you are not involved. You don't know what's the recruitment process. You don't know anything about this. So why don't you jump in, and then we learn together. If you don't know, I teach you. If I don't know, you teach me, and that's it.
Okay, so it's all about collaboration between the two
communication.
Parts.
Exactly.
I will go to the fourth question next. What the HR departments wants every leader to know, even though it's an owner, stakeholder, chief of manager, etc. So what the HR departments want every leader to know for both parties to have a better collaboration?
Well, we had several experiences during the last 2 years, and not only, when we have seen that leaders couldn't manage this crisis situation. They couldn't manage their people. They didn't pay attention to their needs. They were not involved in, let's say, their emotional comfort. And apparently, according to some surveys I have recently seen, McKinsey is one of the institutions that are conducting this kind of surveys, which are really, really good. They said that leaders should be more focused on people, on their emotional involvement, and what should people do is to bring their whole person at work. What I mean is that we don't have to forget our heart when we get to the office. We need to be there with everything that we need to do, with everything that we know, and to share with everybody good experiences. And the leader should pay attention to our comfort from psychological, emotional, and physical point of view. Because until 2020, we were focusing on processes, more on processes than on people. Now it's time to focus more on people, of course, not to forget the processes because they are really important, but let's not forget that we deal with people and people deal with processes. So we need to deal with people first. People first, that's it. Okay, so if you need to remember something, then people first is what you need to remember from this story.
Wow. Yes. So that's this is something additional to what you said at the beginning with the bringing human back into HR.
Exactly.
This is actually what you mean with more details about it. So it makes you think. You also mentioned earlier about employees' experience because what I would like you to extend this part a little bit, because what we usually hear about, especially in the business world, we think about and we usually hear about customer experience that way, customer experience this way. Everybody's talking about customer experience, but less and less. I don't know exactly what percentage, but usually people don't think about employee experience.
Hmm. Well,
So can you,
actually,
yeah, please.
yes, thank you, Madalina, for this. It's a very good question, by the way. And I remember what Richard Branson said, the owner of Virgin. He said
Yes.
something like, if you take care of your people, people will take care of your clients. So actually, it's not only me who puts people first, because all the businesses in the world are created around people. Okay, it's not, we don't create the business around clients. We create it around people. These are the core values. No, people first. It's again people first. Our clients are people. Our employees are people. Our leaders are people. Our suppliers are people. So why do we forget that? So we need to put an emphasis on people and how we manage them, how we manage their emotions, how we create the comfort for them in order for them to provide for the clients. If people feel good at work, if people feel good in general, they will have results. It's easy. It's not that difficult. It's not rocket science. And we forget that. We put pressure on them. We shout at them. We give them KPIs they cannot achieve. They do 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. We ask them realistic things. We don't give them support. We don't listen to them. So how can we expect them to provide for the clients if they don't have the necessary tools, the necessary comfort, the necessary support in order to have performance?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's something easy to understand, but of course difficult to put into practice.
To implement what you said about that one, and what you reminded me, and people that are listening to us at the moment, is actually reminding me that also in the leadership game we have a card that we usually play that says companies doesn't have future, don't have a future. Humans have a future, people have a future.
Exactly, because the company is not something, a third party. A company is based on the people.
Yeah. A company is actually concrete. It's something. It's an object without life. People are bringing life into the company. Yes,
exactly. It's a concept. Okay, it's a form of organization, let's say.
Yes. So this is my list of the most important questions that the most common questions that leaders are asking, and I really wanted you to share from your perspective what are your opinions and what should leaders understand about this. Florin, thanks again for being with us in the same frame. I would like you to get the microphone and say something additional to what was already said.
Sure. Thank you so much, Corina. You share so many good things, and I put some of them in my comments on the show just because I really love that. So I gonna go and read them. So one of the things that actually I read, I heard it from you saying, like, we don't have to forget our heart when we come into the office, and I really love that because so many times we believe that we can just forget about our private life and we can come into the office like being the robots or the the feelingless person, and also when we have a bad day in the office, that we don't bring that home, and that's impossible. We're one human being. So thank you for
Exactly.
saying that again, and the way you said it, because it really resonated with me. And also, we don't build businesses around clients, we build our businesses around people. I
Exactly.
also really love that. So thank you so much for sharing that. I have a kind of an interesting question. Like, I believe I want to hear your perspective on this. So uh, what is your opinion about using assessments in the recruiting process? Is this idea of recruiting personality and training skill, right? We hear this all the time, we talk about it. What is your perspective on recruiting personality and training skill?
Well, it's about Simon Sinek said it: hire for attitude and train for the skills. Well, actually, it's a very good thing to assess people during the recruitment process, because it gives you a new perspective, and of course, it makes your hiring decision easier, because you have the competencies, the set of competencies that you need. You have the values of the company. You know exactly what you need from those candidates. So you have an additional tool in order to make sure that you take the correct decision. But I wouldn't base my hiring decision only on the assessment. I would, of course, conduct interviews, face-to-face interviews. I will even bring the candidates, the shortlisted candidates, to the company to see how the company is, how the environment is, who are the colleagues, etc. So I would do, a package, a recruitment package, in order for us as employees to see how the company looks like, and in order for the employers to see how the employees are managing, the situations, how they behave, what are their expectations, and things like that. So yes, very good tool. I do it. So it's a common practice for me, and I also do it for in succession planning and in promoting employees, for the next
Right.
level,
Mhm.
because we need to know if they have the right, competency, skills for the future position.
Right on. Thank you so much for that. And I love what you said, because this is not, we don't base our hiring decision based on an assessment, but it helps us, reinforce the decision that we were to make, or maybe makes us aware of some things that we missed. Because so many times, the clients that I work with, I hear them sometimes, well, I don't understand why this person is not performing, because we had such a great time during the interview and we
Right.
think they match the culture. But then the challenge is that you or I, being a recruiter or a hiring manager, and sitting with a person and say, well, I think we connected. It doesn't say anything about how good they will be in the position that we're hiring
Of
for,
course.
right? It only says that we had a good time. We maybe have similar personalities. We connect, uh, but they will not work with us. They will work with someone else, and
Definitely. And
and
by the
that's
way,
where,
Florin,
yeah, go on.
sorry to interrupt you. By the way, the past performance in another company is no longer a good predictor for the future performance, because it depends on the context, it depends on the climate, on the corporate culture, it depends on the context, on the job. So we cannot expect, if people are really good and they are geniuses in past companies they work for, we cannot expect them to provide the same results in our company if they don't have the same environment and the same tools and the same people in their team. So that's why assessments are really good, because we need to understand better the person behind the role
The results, yeah,
and the
and also the
results.
results, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for saying that, and that's really, really good insight into. We cannot expect, yes, someone, and then the other way also, if someone has not performed in a previous company, it doesn't mean that they will never perform.
Of course, it works this way.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Also,
much for making the time today. So we usually kind of close with a little bit more of a kind of two personal questions. And one is about, what is the best leadership advice you ever got, and who was from, if you remember, and how did that help you?
well, one of them. Thank you for this question. It's a very good question, by the way. One very good advice I have received from a former CEO.
Mhm.
He told me, if you don't promote yourself, nobody will do it for you. Talk about your achievements, talk about your results, and people will value you. Okay, it's not about being arrogant. On the contrary, I was really modest, and but to be aware of your qualities, of your competencies, of the level of your expertise, and share it with other people who might learn something from you. And his name is Costel Iordache. He's the former CEO of Securitas Romania.
Wow.
One of the companies I loved working with.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. So the closing question that we ask all our guests is like, what does leadership today means for you? How would you define leadership?
Oh, for me, leadership means you leave your mark on something. You leave something behind. You add value to people. You add value to everything that you do. This is leadership for me. It's not only having followers, because we have followers. We have followers on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. But for me, the number of followers doesn't mean anything. For me, what I do for people and the feedback I get from people I work with is the most important thing. So I think that's it.
Wow, leaving the mark on the world, impacting people's life. And I can see from your activity, from what you share with us today, that you're doing that. And that's one of our core values. So thank you so much for making the time and being with us today. So if you look to connect with Corina, we share also some links of some of her resources. They are only in Romanian, but I'm sure you're going to find a Google Translate to help you with that. But also feel free to follow and connect with Corina on LinkedIn. She's very active on LinkedIn. So I just wanted to put all of us here on the screen, just to say hi to everyone and thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Corina. Thank you, Madalina.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. See you next time. Take care.
See
Bye-bye.
you. You too.
Bye.